When I was in the the worst stage, I remember feeling incredibly ashamed, and I was going to make sure nobody would ever catch me, and I was never going to tell anybody till the day it was going to go to the grave with me.
I knew I had to stop. I knew it was going nowhere, that it was going to kill me, and I was afraid of making a mistake.
Being a drug addict was like the lowest thing ever. Being an alcoholic was really uncool, and it was very inappropriate, and I would do my best to hide that from people.
I really felt that I didn't have any other options to help me get through the day.
I thought I had done bad things, I had made poor choices, and I had potentially endangered lives, and I was really scared about being in trouble, and sort of maybe that was the least of my concerns at the time.
When you get up in the morning, drugs or alcohol, when you get up in the morning, that's the first thing you think about. First thing.
Okay, I have done all this great stuff at work and dedicated a huge amount of my time to getting the outcomes I was getting, so therefore I used it as a reward.
People that aren't alcoholics will take a few drinks, but as soon as they get that buzz, they stop. No more. It's making me feel lightheaded, I don't want any more. And that's it. Doesn't matter if there's half a glass or 3/4 of a glass, they will not touch it because they don't like that buzz that we alcoholics go for.
I wouldn't be able to get through the day without thinking when I'm going to get my next fix, where I'm going to get my next fix, how I'm going to pay for my next fix, where to go to get, how much to use, when to use, who to use with. And this whole ball would start rolling every single day all over again.
I started taking morphine and Valium and fentanyl that I was acquiring through work, and was injecting myself with it. And that was a real scary time for me. I changed a lot. However, I was very secretive and no one knew.
And that's a miserable existence. That's not a life of a human being.
I was making no progress as far as dealing with the isolation and the anger and the depression I was feeling. And the use of the alcohol and the marijuana really became a focus in my day-to-day life that didn't allow me to deal with things in a healthy way.
Self-deception was rampant throughout the whole process, and the worst part about self-deception that I can't fix my own self-deception. I need someone outside of me to help me fix myself lying to myself.
The problem with drugs and alcohol is that one loses insight. The insight starts slipping away. Addiction is so big and so powerful that no amount of love from your friends or family can make it go away.
Sometimes I would manage to stop using, but there is a big difference between stopping and staying stopped.
I'd made a bit of a fool of myself, and one of the union representatives from our area spoke with me the next morning and was very, very clear and very kind, but very clear that I think you have a problem.
I had to have the medications to keep me from being sick. And if I took myself off the medication, I knew I would die of I'd have a massive MI.
There were multiple complaints from pharmacare and I think my insurance provider that I had all sorts of different physicians writing me triplicate prescription forms for controlled substances, mainly opiate painkillers. And also there was an RCMP investigation on me passing fake prescriptions.
I didn't have any intentions of doing anything to myself, but what I did was I acquired a whole bunch of vials of drugs, and I went home that weekend and I used them all, and with no intention of hurting myself directly, but I ended up having an overdose.
Well, when my doctor told me that I had to call CRNBC, that was the first step. I thought, no, I can't do this. I'll lose everything if I call. And he said, no, you have to call. So I came home and I called because of course I was terrified, but I was desperate.
I then had to do one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever done, which was report myself to the College of Nurses to tell them that, I had a substance problem and that I needed help and that I couldn't practice. And that felt like a huge failure on my side, that I had to actually do that. I was embarrassed. I was sad. I'd worked hard to get to where I was, and now I felt like I was losing everything, when in fact that wasn't the way things would go, that I was going to come out of this even stronger and more successful than I went into it.
Without that push from the college and the union, my life wouldn't be I probably wouldn't be alive right now.
When I walked in the College of Registered Nurses offices, I was worried about my career and what judgments were going to be laid down, and worried about just what information they had about me and my career, and what knowledge they had of events that led up to me being before them.
I was reassured with the LEAP program that it was confidential, which was a huge relief, and that they were there to help me.
With the LEAP program, they were just unbelievably supportive and helpful, and just guided me through the next steps.
I was put in contact with the LEAP program at the union, who supported me through the process as well. I was given advice. I was provided with funds to get places that I needed to be, and connected with a whole bunch of different programs after that.
Making that phone call, I still look back, and that was I guess a bit of a leap in blind faith, as I was at the time. But I knew I had to do something. I couldn't do nothing anymore, and it saved my life.
My life now is fantastic, and I have hope, and I have insight now into what happens around me.
I got a lot of mercy and I got a lot of grace, and people who delivered that mercy and grace was my treatment team, was my union, was the College of Registered Nurses of British Columbia.
When people get help, really the true colors come out in who they are as a person and as a professional. I was able to then start taking on greater tasks, more responsibility, help people. I've been able to help people in multiple ways.
There is honor in recovery. It's an illness, and it's about sick people getting well, not bad people getting good.